Hey, how you doing? If you think that nut jobs making wacko comments and is just something for the recent years, like all these political things back and forth, it's not just recent. It goes back a long, long way.
We've got proof.
We're just going to go back to something we can verify with a video from the 80s. And the things that the thing that they're focused on, that they're upset about, will blow your mind. It's coming up in just a little bit. Hey, glad to have you back. We have got quite a bit to talk about. Let's start with the fact that my dog is the best dog in the world.
I was just going to congratulate you and Betty and the millions of people that probably made big money over the Super Bowl because they listened to Betty.
I know that, everybody I saw was like, oh, Kelsea, no, birds. Everybody's pulling for the Eagles. We went with Betty, and we actually won, and we're not gamblers. I don't think I've ever placed a bet before. We won almost $600.
Well, I'm telling you,
it's a big deal to us right now.
I'm telling you right now, DraftKings, what's the other ones? FanDuel, all that, the MGM one, Caesars, none of them were as good as Betty at all. Yeah. And I'm not kidding. They all paled in comparison.
Through conference championships and through divisional rounds and the Super Bowl, she was 6-1. So thank you, Betty. My wife's boss and friend made an extra $100. She put down $100 on KC.
Good.
Based on Betty. And then it was funny because I had to make the bet because Katie wasn't at home. She goes, will you do this bet? And I was like, I'll try. So I get on there, and when we make the $100 money line bet, simple bet that, doesn't pay a ton of money.
Yeah.
We got like 8 bonus bets.
Nice.
This was through DraftKings. And so I don't know anything about this stuff, but they were all $25. So I just started putting them on stuff, and I actually hit a few, and that's how we won bigger money. So it was fun. I'm not going to turn into a gambler because of this, but it was nice. It was a lot of fun.
We know that we got to find some other things to put Betty out there. She's like Rain Man at this stuff.
Katie was like, I wonder if we could lay numbers down and get her to pick lottery numbers.
Yeah.
Now, the only way that's going to work is if I can guarantee that if somebody wins, I get a piece.
Yes, agreed.
As far as the game itself, I didn't really pay attention because I had no game. $100 in the hunt, and I want my dog to do well. So I wanted Kansas City to win. That was really it.
It was the first game I've watched all the way through, Super Bowl game, in years, because we used to have to get up at 3 a.m. to go to work. So I'd make it at halftime and go to bed. But I enjoyed the game. I was disappointed. I was pulling for Jalen Hurts because he's such a class act and good guy. And I hate Patrick Mahomes' brother so badly. I don't use that word hate a lot. But I really have a bad taste in my mouth for his brother.
So what did he do?
His brother's an influencer or whatever, and just his brother's been kicked out of multiple restaurants saying, do you know who my brother is?
Oh, wow.
But he's done nothing on his own. And I guess during the acceptance speech or something, I haven't seen the video, I've just read the headlines, Patrick Mahomes is accepting the award or something, and behind him is his brother dancing. Like, get the attention on me.
We used to have a guy who worked for us who was like that.
Yes.
Man, I thought it was kind of funny. I don't know how, I haven't decided on an opinion on it, but John Oliver, he does his show on HBO.
Oh, yeah.
He was on Colbert the other night, and he ripped into the owner of the Chiefs. He was like, what is this guy doing on the field? Why is he holding this thing? He goes, he didn't do anything. He said the coach coached them to a win. The players played to a win.
He wrote the checks.
Well, that's my thing. It's like, he's there. He's the money, but I get it. In that moment, he really had nothing to do with that victory.
I'm going to take the opposite view of that because let me just tell you, there's an owner that likes to get his hands dirty, Jerry Jones, and the Cowboys. Let's put it this way. Jalen Hurts, who played in that Super Bowl, was born, grew up, went to college, won 2 championships at Alabama, went to Oklahoma, was a Heisman finalist, got drafted, played a year in the pros, and now is a starter and played in a Super Bowl since the last time the Cowboys won a playoff game.
That's awesome.
And Jerry Jones is the owner that's heavily involved.
Okay.
I think there's something to be said for, I'm going to get smart people to run the organization and write the checks.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. We'll look at Steinbrenner for the Yankees back in the day. Everybody complained that he was always tinkering. Nobody likes tinkerers.
Yes.
Anyway, congratulations to both teams. I'm just happy that the sports ball tournament went well and that, everybody was, I don't know.
And Rihanna.
Second most watched halftime show ever. Probably the most complained about halftime show. I saw so many people complaining. It's like, what did you want?
Well, let me just tell you what they want. Here's the deal. Businesses that are successful, any business, not just the NFL, they know what audience they want to get. They know their target. And so they give them what they want so they get better ratings. Now, the whole reason the halftime show became a thing was years ago in Living Color on halftime did a live show one time and took 20 million viewers. And the NFL said, we can't have that happen anymore.
Yeah.
So that's when they started doing the halftime shows. And they started with Michael Jackson and then went from there.
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you, all the tweets I saw, and they were all old white men. Nobody wants to see her. Nobody cares. Yeah. She's terrible. It's like, no, there's a lot of people. It's the second most watched in history, and a lot of people loved her. Not my cup of tea, but I liked it. I mean, I didn't go away going, oh, I'll never watch a football game again.
It gave me solid Squid Game vibes with her in the red, and like when I first saw that. I mean, I liked it. I thought it was cool the way that, on the platforms and stuff. It wasn't, for me, a spectacle.
Yeah.
But it was a good show. I mean, yeah, did she lip sync? I guess probably a good portion of that. Yeah. But I don't care about that either because, again, this isn't, you're not going to a concert where you paid money to hear somebody sing. You're watching a spectacle. Mm-hmm. And, clearly it worked because she is second behind only Katy Perry in halftime show viewership.
I know it's about money and their target audience and everything. I wish during the draft they would have a big giant wheel on the stage with all formats of music. Oh. And then spin it, and then whatever it lands on, they're going to go after the biggest artist they can get in that format.
Who is killing it at Calypso these days? We had what jazz artist is going to come out here?
Because I'm sitting there thinking, again, the people that were tweeting kept bringing up the Rolling Stones, Bruce Springsteen, Tom Petty, all those folks that did it, but that's all one genre. That's all classic rock, which is old white men that listen to that mostly. So at some point you got to get a little younger and get a different crowd in there.
I mean, for the kind of music that I really love, and I love all kinds of music, but I have, to my knowledge, I don't recall a really good alternative band. Mm-hmm. Like I've never seen The Cure or Depeche Mode or New Order or any of those bands get to play halftime. And I get that because they're more of a niche group, and the NFL may love them, but at the end of the day, who's going to bring in the money?
And the views.
And that's Rihanna clearly did that. Now, I will say, I'm sorry, I saw something, and I'm not sure if it's accurate, but her talking about a few years ago, I guess probably when the Kaepernick stuff was going on, and they asked her at that point, would you ever do the halftime show? And she was like, absolutely not. She said, I'm not going to bow to these people, and blah, blah. And she went on quite a little rant about it, and I was like, I guess you changed your mind.
That stuff will come back and get you. But I tell you who to watch for is Pepsi is no longer the sponsor of the halftime show, which means Taylor Swift can now do the halftime show, because when she was signed with, she couldn't do it, Pepsi or something. However it was done, she couldn't do it. And now that sponsorship is open, so she can get in there and do the halftime show.
Well, that would be, talk about huge. I mean, my gosh, I saw a guy post a video. He said, here's what happens when you're a daughter and it's the halftime show. And he spins his camera around, and it's just a room. His house is full of young women, watching Rihanna. But clearly that's part of the audience that the NFL wanted to get.
Yes.
And they got it. So anyway. Now it's behind us. No more football for a while. Well, I guess the USFL or whatever it is, that's the thing now. Is that back?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's back, but I tried to watch a game last year just because I remember the USFL when it was out.
Yeah.
That was my first autograph, was Herschel Walker and Doug Flutie came walking out of the locker room and just ran into me. That's how, there was no security back then. I was 12, and I'm like, hey, and I had my program, and they took it and signed it.
That's cool.
Yeah, now the USFL, I'm like, they played, I think they played all the games in one stadium last year. Like all the teams flew in and stayed in Birmingham, and they played them all in Birmingham.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's probably not going to be a part of that.
I don't know.
Hope you had a great Valentine's Day. That's behind us. What's next on the books? President's Day?
Divorce. Oh, no, I thought you were talking about, not for me. I was just saying a lot of people probably. Valentine's Day probably didn't go well.
We had made it an agreement that this year, because everything's kind of going crazy, with us not technically working. Took it, no big gifts or anything like that. I got her some flowers. She got me that U2 album I talked about, and we had a nice meal and cards, and that was it. So we kept it low key. What about you guys?
We had a nice little dinner.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I mean, look, and I've heard this said before, and it sounds like an excuse for somebody not to make a big deal at Valentine's, but I really do believe this. If you're with somebody that you really care about, you should be showering that person with affection and love all the time.
I think I get more mileage, to use that term, letting Rach know on different days with cards hidden or notes hidden anywhere than on Valentine's Day if I give her a card, which I do. But if I give her a card, she's like, okay, that was
this is supposed to happen. Yeah. Flowers for no reason, in my experience, are a lot better than flowers for some made-up reason.
And for some reason, because I looked this up, statistically, if you're going to get flowers, stealing them from a graveyard on Wednesday, for whatever reason, a lot of funerals happen on Monday or Tuesday. So that's the best day to go swipe flowers. Yeah, to swipe the flowers.
Try to time that around here. We're not recommending that you do that, by the way. YouTube algorithm, we're not recommending that anybody break the law in any way. Not that have I ever done that? No, of course not. Not even when I was 17 years old in a small town.
It doesn't matter. They're dead. They don't know.
Right? Lily had a Valentine's dance, right?
Yes, and Rach and I terrified her for 2 solid days because she said something like, Dad, you're going to come to the dance, aren't you? And I said, oh, yeah, your mom and I's got our costume. And she's like, costume? And I'm like, oh, never mind. And she's like, what do you mean, never mind? Oh, what are you talking about? And I'm like, nothing. Don't worry about it. And then, like, she would walk in the room, and then Rach and I'd be like, and she'd be like, what are you doing? And we're like, oh, working on our dance. And she's like, working on your dance?
Nice.
Stop it.
Did you guys were you like chaperones?
Or I think all the adults just kind of went and just let the kids kind of do their thing. But they had a DJ in there and they were all running around. It was so loud.
Wow, times have changed. So these are young teens and they got parents all over the place at a dance?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I'm glad that wasn't how it was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Whew. Gross.
Well, they always canceled our dances because the kids were too out of control. Like they'd be in there 30 minutes and be like, this is over.
Why did we say yes to this? These are the worst children of all time. Let's see, what else is going on? Chris, you are getting ripped off and you're doing something about it. You're mad as hell and you're not going to take it anymore.
I am.
The social media thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, as a side hustle, I've learned that I used to think that was a bad thing. And then when we left the job, I was talking to these other people they're like, no, side hustle's the new way that people do it. You know, instead of going to work at a place and making $10, $15 an hour.
Instead of going to a place where you hate everyone in the building.
Yes.
Why not do this thing
and
on
do
your
3
own?
or 4 side hustles? And I've kind of fallen into this thing where I'm giving strategy on social media to folks because I know what your target is and I can build things because a lot of people just post to post.
Right.
So I've talked to several folks and I'm helping a few, but there's 2 of them that I thought was going to hire me and they were pretty serious. And then I said, you have to tell them a little bit about what you're going to do.
You got to dangle a hook.
And I'm like, well, here's what I would do. Boom, 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 to start. Ghosted me, never heard from him again, but they started doing just those things. And I'm like, well, that's good when that wears out. You know, that's only going to carry you so far, but now I know what their character's like and I wouldn't work for them anyway.
Well, the wheel turns. I mean, that'll come back around. I mean,
Yeah.
karma, if you believe in that kind of stuff.
But it just shows you, it's like, aha. But then luckily a good friend of ours is a salesperson and told us like, no, you need this kind of form where they sign it and pay you this. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that's going to help me.
Excellent. Finally, on personal stuff, we haven't been really watching. I mean, we're just watching the regular stuff. We're still watching Your Honor, which is great. We're watching The Last of Us, which we really enjoyed, although episode 5 crushed me. That was a tough episode to watch. I won't say anything else. If you've already seen it, you know. And then we watched a movie the other night that I forgot about. I don't remember when it came out. I want to say early to mid-2000s, and it's called This Is Where I Leave You. And it's one of those movies, I'm not sure how to describe it. A lot of laughs, a lot of emotional stuff. It's a kind of a dysfunctional family. It's got a great cast. Jane Fonda's the mom, and then kids, Tina Fey, Jason Bateman, Adam Driver.
Wow.
I mean, just a bunch of Timothy Oliphant's in it. I mean, just a ton of great people. And it is a lovely movie, and it's really sweet and funny, and I highly recommend it. If you've never seen it, I think you might like it. I think Rachel will like it.
Okay.
It had that vibe to me that thought there's something she might enjoy, but really good. And then you're back onto a show on, is it Netflix or Amazon?
Netflix, okay. Lincoln Lawyer. I tried it a year when it came out, and I watched one episode and was like, it didn't grab me or whatever, but now I was looking for a new show to watch on the treadmill and the bike, and I think the reason why I didn't like it the first time was the pausing. And at that time, it would be like, Rachel's a pauser, I'm not.
Okay, so you guys were trying to watch it together.
Yeah, and it was like, you know what, I need to get a new tea. Pause, and it's like, oh, yeah, and I can't get into shows. I like to just lose myself. So getting on the bike and started it again, and I'm loving it. If you liked Bosch, I think you'll love this show.
Now let me tell you why you're wrong, Chris.
Okay.
No, here's why I can't get into it. And you're not a book person, so this will never be something that will ever affect what you choose to watch.
Okay.
But I love these books. Michael Connelly's books are fantastic. I love the whole series of Harry Bosch books, minus a couple.
That the kid, the wizard?
That's Harry Potter.
Oh.
And the Lincoln Lawyer books, because he started kind of a series based on that character as well, and then they kind of tie together in the book world. I love the first few seasons of Bosch when it was on Amazon. They moved it to that freebie or whatever. And it's like they said, okay, we're going to spend as little money as possible. Yeah. And we watched about 2 episodes, and we were like, I can't watch this anymore. This is garbage. It looks bad. It looks like it's filmed like a soap opera. And they started messing with the stories too much. You've got this incredible source material from Michael Connelly, and he's involved in this, and that he lets them tinker and change, or maybe he's a part of that. I don't know. I don't like it.
Gotcha.
And the Lincoln Lawyer, I didn't like the movie with Matthew McConaughey because Matthew McConaughey is not who should play that role. And I'm not willing to give this show a chance because they've changed it. I love this actor. I don't remember his name, but I love the actor who plays him. He's great in Magnificent Seven and some other things I've seen him in. But you're changing the story, and I don't like how you're doing it. And if you've read the books, I mean, there's family stuff that goes into that. There are reasons that it's cool, and I just feel like when you change a character that much, it really affects the story for me.
You're going to hate the spinoff, Lincoln Log Lawyer. Where
that should be
his whole office is Lincoln Logs.
Well, like I said, a little kid should be the Lincoln Log Lawyer, and then he goes around like fixing disputes between kids. Like he won't share his leg, and then he's the Lincoln.
Exactly. See, this is brainstorming, folks.
We just keep doing it.
Anybody who films this, we want to cut.
I mean, we just keep giving you these free ideas. What do you want from us? Speaking of watching, though, some big news. If you're a Ted Lasso fan,
yes,
we both are, and we know millions of others are.
And I want to say real quick, I get a lot of people every time we talk about Ted Lasso and how much we love it. There's always a few people that are like, "It's not that good. I don't get it," and that's fine. Everybody's got their own opinions, but I think it's the positive. That's the way you sold me on it. It's not a side-splitting, holding your side, laughing knee slapper.
Nope.
It's you just feel good after watching it.
Yeah,
you just come away going, "Oh yeah."
Well, I think that's exactly as I told you. I said I love it because, and especially when it first came out, and the world was, it's bad now. I think it was worse then, just in the turmoil that was going on. So many people arguing about everything, and it just made me escape that for a minute and just feel good and love watching these beautiful characters develop and the relationships that they developed and all that. I mean, I can tear up thinking about it. And like I said, the older I get, the more of a softie I am for this kind of stuff. So I'm super excited for season 3. So here's just a couple of quick notes so you're up to speed on what's happening. So a few days ago, they dropped their first teaser, and if you haven't seen that yet, it's in the description, so you can check that out. But the main thing you need to know is it officially has a premiere date. It's got 12 episodes. They say this is the official description for the season. The newly promoted AFC Richmond faces ridicule as media predictions widely peg them as last in the Premier League. Of course, Nate being such an evil, I want to see what happens to him.
Well,
next.
You know they got to redeem him somehow at some point because positivity has to win.
But it's fun to have somebody to hate on a little bit.
And I do believe this is the last year with Ted Lasso. Then they're going to have a spinoff show. So whatever's going to happen this year, I think he's going to flip this year, and then it'll become a whatever.
Yeah, so when can you gather in front of the TV or wherever you watch your stuff to see this? Wednesday, March 15th. My calendar is marked. Cannot wait for the return of Ted Lasso. If you're a Kelsea Ballerini fan, she dropped a new EP.
Loved her on Frasier.
And what?
Oh, that's Kelsey Grammer. My bad.
Different Kelsey. New EP and a little film to go with it a few days ago. I don't know. I haven't listened to it, haven't watched the film. I probably won't do either of those things. Although I did see some people commenting on Reddit about the film. They loved the film. They thought it was great. And some of them were saying, I think this is better than Taylor's one that she did for that video.
Oh, wow.
And so
Well, she wants to be Taylor, so I can see her copying that.
So if you're a Kelsea fan, you probably already knew that. But in case, we have some information on that in the description as well. And then Magic Mike. You know, I guess, is this Channing Tatum's last go with this character?
I don't know.
That's the thing.
Until he runs out of money, then let's do another one.
Yeah. So Magic Mike's Last Dance or whatever opened this past weekend, and it made around almost $9 million, which doesn't sound like much, but in today's world of the theater, it actually was a pretty good opening. They said it opened on about less than half the amount of screens as the other Magic Mikes, and so the money pretty much made up what it was supposed to make up. Again, I've never seen one of these films. These aren't for me, and I never will.
All I know is we met Channing Tatum. Mm-hmm. Here's a picture.
Super cool.
Yeah, super cool. And we interviewed him for less than 1 minute, and that 1 minute interview had more views and listens than almost any of our other interviews.
I think they're just waiting for him to take his pants off somewhere in that interview. But he was very cool and very nice. I love that he has a great sense of humor about himself, which is why I forgive these kinds of movies because I think they're schlock, but that's just my opinion. But I love it. Like his character, a tiny little role he had in Bullet Train, I thought was so fun, and it showed how comfortable he is with who he is in real life.
Yes.
So I love any actor who can not take themselves so seriously all the time.
Yes.
And then if you are a kid of the 90s or you're a parent of a kid in the 90s, here's some big news. Have you seen Barney's Makeover? Barney's back and looks different. I guess I don't care that they changed it around. I don't know.
I didn't have kids back then, but I know you're oldest.
Lexi was obsessed.
And then you got somebody that was tied in with Barney to call her.
One of my dear friends was and is involved in a theater. She and her husband actually run a theater now near Atlanta. But she was friends with the actress who played Baby Bop. And she got Baby Bop to call Lexi. And Lexi was just like big glass eye, just freaking out. She was only like 2 years old. But it was crazy at our house for Barney. So Now you'll get the chance, maybe new parents, to have that all over again.
That's terrifying.
It launched some careers. I think wasn't. There were 2 or 3 big young actresses who started out on that show.
I have no idea.
Selena Gomez, maybe, was she on that show?
I don't know.
I can't remember. We'll do some research before this airs, and it'll pop up on the screen, I'm sure. And then another big 90s thing, Pokemon, which never really went away. I didn't realize how big it still was. My kids loved it. They collected the cards. We had the video games. And I will say Pokemon Stadium on N64, pretty badass. Even though I couldn't beat a 6-year-old at it, it was still a lot of fun. My kids destroyed me on that game, but it was so fun. Well, they're bringing back a new version of Pokemon. And I guess, I don't know enough about this to speak intelligently, but Ash, who was the big character in the original, he's wrapped up. He made the big time, and they're going to focus on some new characters.
Gotcha.
They're bringing in some new Pokemon, and they're going to return a few old Pokemon that used to be around.
So it's a Pokemon reboot.
It pretty much is, yeah. So we got new Pokemon stuff to watch. I don't know where it's going to show up.
Hardly wait to not watch that.
I mean, I've told the story. That first Pokemon movie, and they had the shorts at the beginning, and I fell asleep during the shorts. And when I woke up, I was like, "Oh, the movie's over." And they're like, "No, Dad, the movie hasn't started." I almost cried.
That's brutal.
Cried in front of my children. So bad, so bad. And that brings us to this crazy story. Now, do you want to show the video first, or do you want to talk about it? How do you want to do this?
Let's show you this video, and then we can go back and make some points about it.
Okay, so this is from back in the 80s. Watch this.
Any attempt to restrict drinking and driving here is viewed by some as downright undemocratic.
It's kind of getting common is when a fella can't put in a hard day's work, put in 11, 12 hours a day, and then get in your truck and at least drink 1 or 2 beers.
They're making it laws where you can't drink when you want to. You have to wear a seatbelt when you're driving, and pretty soon we're going to be communist country.
Well, where do we jump in after that? Thoughts?
Okay. Yes, I have so many thoughts. Now, first of all, hopefully everyone is laughing at that because it's so ridiculous.
The level of stupidity that we just witnessed.
But the things I want to point out, never mind the guy that's upset he can't have a few beers while driving home.
Well, Chris, he put in 10 or 11 hours. He deserves to drink and drive.
But the lady with a baby in the front seat, mind you, was upset and said they're going to make us wear seat belts now, and basically we're going to be a communist country. And the reason why I bring that up is those laws were obviously changed. There's less drinking and driving on the roads. More people are alive because of that. Seat belts and babies having to be in the back seat, child seats. More babies are alive. Less accidents. It's safer. And we all lived through it. And yes, you can get ticketed for those things or worse, but nobody's taking the country away. And the reason why I bring it up, if you have a gun or you want to buy a gun and you're upset that they want you to go through a few extra background checks, it's not taking away our rights.
The moment that anybody tells anybody in this day and age, pick something. You can't do this that way. You have to do it this way. It doesn't even have to be, you can't do this anymore. It's just going to be, you have to do it this way now. You're taking away my rights, blah, 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 blah. This amendment, that amendment. And none of those things happens. No rights get taken away. They're just trying to make things better for everybody.
Yes.
And just a matter of opinion. But when you live in a country that has already had more mass shootings in 2023 than we have had days, something probably ought to be done to make things a little safer.
That's just our viewpoint.
I'm
not anti-gun in any way.
I own a gun. I have a gun in my house right now, and we're probably going to buy a couple more. Not against it. I just, as we've said many times, and I know the gun nuts will go crazy, and there's got to be a way to do something about this.
That's it.
Plain and simple. But anyway, I love just these people somehow being told I can't drink and drive, and I got to wear a seatbelt.
What next?
It's a communist country. Let's get to some fun stuff. We'll wrap things up with some internet that we found this week. Pretty funny. Well, let's start with this one. Since Valentine's Day was just a couple of days ago, and I'm sure all the couples are super solid and healthy right now.
And this is so accurate, at least in my house.
My wife just stopped and said, "You weren't even listening, were you?" I thought to myself, that's a pretty strange way to start off a conversation. Man. Me Googling, why does my neck hurt? I have done this. I've been sitting, looking down like that.
I'm wondering what the teenagers in 30 years is going to be like. Because remember when the X Games came out, and we all played football, baseball, basketball as
basic
kids.
Sports, soccer.
And then the skateboarding, and kids were breaking wrists and all this. And you wonder when they get old what they're going to feel like. Well, because it hurts when you get injured young and later in life.
You look at somebody like Tony Hawk, who's around our age, and everything he went through. Johnny Knoxville, who's a little younger than us, but not much. I mean, everything he put himself through. And of course, that was extreme. My own son, Jeffrey's a skateboarder, rollerblader, all those things. He's had some injuries. I don't know what's going to happen down the road for him.
I just know how sore I am now, and I just played backyard ball.
Yeah, I barely did any of that, and I'm still sore. So really, at the end of the day, I think it's just getting old sucks. I guess that's the PSA right here to give you on that one. Talk about staying fit. This couple went to the gym together for 6 months. Did the guy wait outside?
That's just mean.
That's so mean, but it's true. Look.
Yeah.
She looks
I
great.
get it.
Raise your hand if you've done this, or give us a thumbs up somewhere. Dentist, when was the last time you flossed? Bro, you were there 6 months ago, man. I don't floss. Everybody does that. It's like, oh, I got a dentist appointment in 2 days. I better do all a year's worth of flossing.
Yeah, they're like a priest. They know if you're confessing, and you might as well just be honest.
Seriously.
Oh, I floss every day, and they're looking at your teeth going, no, you don't.
Well, I mean, you're like I said, I'm up to my wrist in your blood. You're not flossing every day. This never fails. It is 100% accurate. The driver in front of me when I'm in a hurry compared to the same driver when I try to pass them. Yes, yes, yes. It's like they're not paying attention, and then you wake them up when you get around to whatever. Now they suddenly want to turn it into, oh, wait a minute. Oh, we're racing? Is that what we're doing? When you see police cars in front of the neighbor's house, but you don't want to seem nosy. He's mowing the snow.
What's going on over there?
I don't know where this banner is hanging, but I love these people. We do this not because it is easy, but because we thought it would be easy. And then we'll wrap up with one more piece of romance here, since we're just coming off Valentine's Day. They had one job. You will marry me. I love the comment. They are not asking.
Yeah, that's true.
You're doing this. Fantastic stuff. If you come across something you think's hilarious, by all means, shoot it to us. We'd love to feature it on the show. We're always looking out for that kind of stuff, old, new, whatever.
And remember, we're trying to upgrade the studio, and now the store is open. The Tony and Chris store. The links will be in here.
Yeah, you can go over to Etsy and check out what we've got there. Just a few items right now to get started, but it's a chance for you to support the show and help us get some new equipment and get a little something for your money.
Exactly.
Where you feel like you're doing it. So, yeah, again, links in the description for all the stuff we talked about on the show today. Thank you for watching. Please hit that like button. And look, we really want you to subscribe. If we're not doing something and you want us to do something a little different, if you think, man, this is okay, but I can't quite commit to that extra button push.
Yes.
Yeah, shoot us a comment. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. We're always looking to find new ways to make it cool for you. Appreciate you watching. See you next time.